I think queer is probably the best for me, but I'm trans. I can't get away from that. As much as I would wish it wasn't part of my identity, there's not anything I can do. But yeah, sort of queer, because I think I have identified as bi in the past, but it sometimes. Yeah, I think queer is just easier because it covers sort of all eventualities. I've avoided, just through my own anxiety and worry about the social side and the things that you're going to have to deal there. I haven't really got involved in sports because it's not that when I was younger I didn't enjoy physical activity. As I said, when I was younger I was in the Army Reserves at university. I was actually doing Army Reserves in the infantry, so basically the area that you have to be at your fittest and sort of the things that you have to be able to do. But just with anxiety, I did roller derby for a while because it was the only sport that was openly inclusive, but it wasn't one that I particularly, when I realised that I was forcing myself, I didn't particularly enjoy it. I'm someone who trips over my own feet. I think even in environments that are supposed to be trans or supposed to be welcoming and friendly, they're dominated by cisgender people and their attitudes. They don't say it's because someone's trans. They say it's because they're dangerous, or they're not skilled, and that's how it's used to exclude. So there are still ways of excluding without explicitly saying it, and there's not necessarily always enough people willing to stand up and do anything about it. But the majority of it is focused on trans women and I guess intersex women who are, intersex people who identify as women, because it's always seen about how unfair or how dangerous you are. Like, you're going to be dangerous because you're bigger and stronger. It's unfair because you're bigger and stronger, and it's like, it's something that doesn't encourage you to do it. Yeah, because there's always that, like, that's particularly, let's say, women with high testosterone is a terrible thing, but men with high testosterone isn't a terrible thing, and they're perfectly natural. Because I think a lot of our segregation comes from just historical ideas that when girls hit puberty they suddenly aren't allowed to play with the boys anymore. But having, I guess, done things like the army, British Army does still have segregation in certain roles, but there are plenty of women who go and do the same training as the men and do the same things. So I think it's just, if an individual can play at a level, they should be allowed to play at that level. It doesn't matter what their sex is. Trying to encourage sports to think about not following the traditional binary approach as well, and giving people the opportunities to try. Yeah, because I guess you've got the gay games and things like that, but do they have any sort of specifically do they have having something there that's specifically oriented towards non-binary or trans or intersex people? Because I guess the gay games and out games have just followed the sort of traditional male-female binary things. The ideal environment would just be things, having teams making clear statements of inclusivity and having events that are not necessarily so binary focused, so that you're not, I guess, in having less binary focus means that it's easier to feel included, even if you've got a clear identity one way or the other. If you can sort of fit in just with a group of people, even if it's not binary focused, and anyone's welcome rather than it being a men's team or a women's team or that, I think it just makes it welcoming for everyone, as long as everyone's respectful and acknowledges that they're not. Yeah, so you're not going to have anyone trampling on little people. The reason I went to roller derby is because they were explicitly saying they welcome trans and non-binary people, that's the big start. That's the big start, is for a team to say that they welcome that, to make an explicit statement that they welcome that. And I think because at that point most of the people who have a problem with that will leave. We had that with the Scouts, when the Scouts became inclusive of, when girls were allowed to join the Scouts in the UK, a lot of people left because they didn't agree with it. When the Scouts in the UK became accepting of people who were LGBT, a lot of religious people left. And I think it's rather than, it's to be inclusive, to make a statement that you're inclusive and if it's just talking about people being able to go swimming, something as simple as, like a lot of swimming pools have this, is just having swimming changing rooms that have individual cubicles that everyone changes in, because like sort of having, I think we've got that a lot around in the UK. We don't have separate, we'd often in the big leisure centres you don't have separate men and women's changing rooms. You might have different shower rooms, but even that, having things like cubicles so people can go where they are, so you're not having this terrible fear that someone's going to be exposing themselves, and just say, well, the simple fact is people are uncomfortable generally with nakedness. People shouldn't be naked in sort of the public areas. You have the private changing rooms.